now, Father God, as your children, Father God, just sitting at your feet, Father God, hear, comprehend, and get revelation of your word. Father God, we submit and commit all we do right now to you, Lord. We depend on you, Father God, for all that is done, Father God, for the rest of this service, Father God. We ask that you reveal yourself to us, Father God, by your spoken word, Father God. But may we, Father God, see, Father God, deeply into your revelation, Father God. Become even more astutely aware, Father God, of what you desire for us to do, Father God, how you desire for us to be. Let us continue to be transformed, Father God, even by this brief time with you. May you transform us, Father God, toward the conformity of your Son, Jesus Christ. As your word, Father God, is imparted to us, Father God. We receive your love. We receive, Father God, your majesty and your glory this day in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. You may be seated. God bless you all. Good to see everyone this morning. Once you get settled, please turn to 1 Kings chapter 11. 1 Kings chapter 11. We will have Holy Communion today, so I will govern myself, of course. I will not rush, but we have to be aware of time, but there's going to be a service later, so we want to be obedient to that. 1 Kings chapter 11. While you turn there, gets a little food for thought that I think God gives us all today. We get to the topic of the message. And I think about, well, I think about a lot. A lot of times God gives me revelation what I think that these sermons should be about, but I feel He's saying I get to wondering, like, okay, God, is this it? But then God shows me revelations of how deep what He's doing in regards to the way I see it. And it was this, that's because we had, I don't know, 3 or 4 Sundays on wisdom. But we want to talk today about something as simple and repetitious as making decisions. See, God, there, when we make decisions every day, we make a number of decisions every day. Everybody makes decisions every day. We made decisions. We're here today based on decisions we made. We decided to get up, we decided to get dressed, we decided to prepare ourselves, we decided to drive here and get here. So decisions are very important, and we cannot avoid making them. As long as we're alive, we have to make decisions. I think we all can agree on that. But God had me to wonder, how often do we deliberate on the future consequences on the decisions that we make? How often do we actually deliberate on decisions that we have to make? I'm talking all decisions. And sometimes I know it could be in the workplace, sometimes we're dealing with the children, sometimes with our spouse. We may make decisions, and we've set an army in the heat of battle in a rush, but I think God would have us, even in what we think are routine decisions or insignificant decisions, to deliberate about the consequences of the decision that I make. Because once it's out there and it's been decided, it's going to set a course of action. See, as believers, we have a responsibility to factor the consequences of each decision into that deliberation process. And what God had me to think about a judge. You ever notice, I guess because I watch all those cop shows and stuff, I love those, when the verdict is being written and people present certain petitions to the judge for him or her to deliberate about it. So the judge takes what they want to do, and usually he'll tell the lawyers, okay, come back in X amount of time, a day or whatever, as I go and deliberate before I render my decision. Now, I'm not saying we have to take days, because God wouldn't have us to be crippled, like, okay, I got to think about an inordinate amount of time about every decision I make. But we can deliberate even a short period of time. Because when we apply the word of God to it, it's going to be automatic. All right. We're going to know, this is right, that's wrong. This is right, that's wrong. It's really that simple once we're aware of it. But see, a judge deliberates, and we should be like a judge deliberating about decisions we make. If we want to truly live for God and further His kingdom. Because eventually our decisions that we make are going to be the manifestation or the absence of the manifestation of God in our life, and the decisions that we make and how we conduct ourselves. So with that being the introduction, the title God gave me for this sermon is What about tomorrow? Because tomorrow is going to come if we continue to live. So decisions today are going to impact our tomorrow and further on. With that being said, we want to look at the scriptures. We're going to look at 1 Kings chapter 11 and a portion of chapter 12 about a decision that was made by the king and the ramifications of that decision. Because as we look into this, I'm going to read through this, but as we look at this, we're going to see that God gives us the results of decisions before we make them.
Oh my God.
If we only get in tune and know Him, He tells us what are going to be the outcome of our decisions before we make them. As He did King Solomon here. Hopefully everybody's at 1 Kings chapter 11. So I will read 1 through 13. And this is going to show us how Solomon makes some bad decisions concerning relationships. And we'll see the results of it. Hopefully everybody's there. 1 Kings chapter 11, starting with verse 1. But King Solomon loved many foreign women, as well as the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, the Ammonites, the Edomites, the Sidonians, and Hittites, from the nations of whom the Lord has said to the children of Israel, you shall not intermarry with them, nor they with you. Surely they will turn away your hearts from after their gods. Surely they will turn away your hearts after their gods. Solomon clung to these in love. I'm going to continue to read. See, in verse 2, we see that God not only said, don't marry people from here. He said, this is why you shouldn't do it. Because if you do that, they're going to turn your heart away to their gods. See, one thing we have to remember, I will continue while I was meditating. When we make decisions about, we're talking all decisions, but decisions about relationships can have a greater impact. Because when we enter into close relationship with people, with other gods, we enter into a relationship with their gods. Whether we want to admit it or not, we do. It's going to impact. You cannot just think that this person going to arbitrarily just forget everything that they've been indoctrinated into. Just go, okay, now that you're married to me, now you need to drop all your mores, everything that you've held dear for all these years, just totally disregard it, and just come on and be magically, mystically transformed into righteousness. That would not happen. You enter into a relationship with their God. That happens on a daily basis. So that's the significance of it. You can't get away from it. That is a dynamic you cannot escape. We cannot escape that. Now we have to work. I'm not saying going, okay, people are not Christian. Some people believe that, oh, you're not Christian, I don't work there. I work for a Christian company. I don't even know what that is. But some people seem to think that it is. But I'm talking individual relationships. Working with people is not having a relationship.
That's right.
Having to go to this place where people act a certain way, no, that's not a relationship. This means forming that. Because see right here, still Solomon did. He clung to these in love. That's a close, intimate relationship with people who God is not your God. And God said don't do that because there are consequences. Let's read on. Verse 3. And he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines. And his wives turned away his heart. See, that's what God is always concerned about. Where is our heart? Who is our heart toward?
All right now.
Because see, once you turn away the heart, you change everything. So it's not only about the relationship, it's about the impact that those relationships have on your heart. Because there's going to be a battle. Somebody's going to win out.
Well,
It is not where one side is going to go. Somebody is going to win and somebody is going to be healed. But so it was when Solomon was old that his wife turned his heart after other gods. Just like God said it was going to happen, it happened. And his heart was not loyal to the Lord his God, as was the heart of his father David. For Solomon went after Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Sidonians, and after Milcom, the abomination of the Amorites. Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord, and did not follow fully the Lord as did his father David. Then Solomon built a high place to Shemash, the abomination of Moab, on the hills in the east of Jerusalem, and for Molech, the abomination of the people of Ammon. And he did likewise for all his foreign wives to burn incense and sacrifice to their God. So the Lord became angry with Solomon, because his heart had been turned from the Lord God of Israel, who had appeared to him twice. See, right there, let's pause right there. It wasn't that Solomon didn't know God. God had appeared to him twice.
Yeah.
And you can look back at this time, because Solomon was set up, Solomon was wealthy. And actually we read the scriptures for that in verse 10, but chapter 10, it said that Solomon, people from all over the earth came to Solomon to hear his wisdom that God had given him.
Come on.
So it's not like Solomon was some arbitrary person. Solomon was the wisest man on earth, and probably the richest. When you read through that, he had riches. He had wisdom. And people came to him. God said, okay, I allowed all this, but what I want is your heart.
All right.
So we never get in a position where it's about us, because it's always about the heart. And see, we can't see the heart, we don't know the heart. And that's what God said, don't subject yourself to this, because you don't even know your heart. You don't know what will turn your heart from me. But I know. So you need to avoid this situation, because I know how your heart is, and I know it can be turned away from me.
Amen.
So to think that you can do it, well, I done prayed enough, I pray and fast, it'll be all right. No, it won't. Because God already told you it won't be. He already told Solomon it wouldn't be all right. He did it anyway. I'm not here to claim Solomon, because I'm there, we all might. Yep, I sure did make a bad decision. I suffered for it. But we have to understand it's the heart that God is concerned about, and it's his heart that he wants to protect in us by having us to obey him. See, sometimes we just get taught to be religious and just go through this. Y'all know my euphemism for this, the kabuki dance, do certain things by practice over and over, like repetition, like rope. Got that term from my son. Think you do something enough times, you can come in. No, you don't. You just keep doing it a lot of times. I go to a theater every day for the rest of my life. That would not make me an actor. So you can come in church and you can move into the church, and that will not make you a believer. Only when our heart changes we can believe, because our heart change, it controls our actions and the decisions that we make. So Solomon, God became angry at him because his heart had turned away from him. And he knew God. And he commanded, let's read on. And he had commanded him concerning these things, that he should not go after other gods, but he did not keep what the Lord had commanded. Therefore the Lord said to Solomon, because you have done this, and have not kept my covenant and my statutes which I have commanded you, I will surely tear the kingdom away from you and give it to your servant. Like Solomon, you got all this stuff. Because you didn't follow me, I'm taking it all and giving it to your servant. Not to your son, to your servant. That's like Bill Gates walking one day and all his wealth and transferred to his maid. That's pretty drastic. Because you read 10, I want you in your own time, read 10 and talk about the significance. Materially, we're not talking about material, but materially what this meant for Solomon. Verse 12. Nevertheless, I'm going to stop at 13, then we're going to move on. Nevertheless, I will not do it in your days for the sake of your father David. I will tear it out of the hands of your son. Now his decision, as David's decisions had protected Solomon to a degree, Solomon said, okay, now you have really turned from me, but because of David, because your father was so faithful to me, I'm not going to take the kingdom from you yourself. I'm going to take it from your son. So now his decision is not just impacting him, it's impacting the future generations. That's why what about tomorrow? I'm like, what about tomorrow? So now his son is in jeopardy. However, 13, God is showing mercy here. However, I will not tear away the whole kingdom. I will give one tribe out of 12 to your sons for the sake of my servant David and for the sake of Jerusalem, which I have chosen. So because God is God, he's always true and faithful to his word. And because of David's decisions, that in spite of David's indiscretions and his sin, his heart never turned away from God. That still extended mercy to his son.
Yes.
And actually to a degree to his grandson. But God could have cut them all off, but he didn't do that. He said, what about tomorrow? Okay, let's read down because the story gets even more interesting. Let's skip down. That was 13. Let's look. We're going to stay in chapter 11, and we're going to go down to verse 26. It's 26. In the interim between this, between 12 and 26, what God had done, what God did was begin the process that he had already stated. Because see, once God says something, and make a proclamation, it's done. So what had happened in the interim, we see it, you feel free to read it yourself, God had raised up 2 adversaries against Solomon. So these are people that's already starting to push back against the king, and you could tell this from God that he had orchestrated, because that's death to raise up against the king. You don't disobey the king. See, we don't know that in America, so for you to talk about the president, the governor, the mayor, and all this, to a certain degree, as long as you're not like making threats or anything of that nature. But when you got a king to actually be an adversary to the king and start to pronounce that's treason. I mean, that's a offense punishable by death. So God has raised up 2 adversaries, and now we're going to read about the 3rd adversary, starting in verse 26 that he raised. Let me find it myself. Okay, 11:26. It says, and Jeroboam said in his heart, God, no, disregard. I'm in chapter 12. Not my fault, it's the pan's fault. Okay, 26. I'm back in 11 now. Then Solomon's servant Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, an Ephraimite from Zerida, whose mother's name was Zerudah, a widow, also rebelled against the king. He joined the other 2. He's in rebellion against the king. And this is what caused him to rebel against the king. Solomon had built the Milo and repaired the damages to the city of David, his father. The man Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor, and Solomon, seeing that the young man was industrious, made him the officer over all the labor force in the house of Joseph. Remember, that's important. Solomon had made Jeroboam the chief, the officer over all the labor force. And see, basically what the king did, they conscripts, conscripts. See, the king is direct. If we want the king could just send folks out that's in charge of whatever, okay, bring your sons and all y'all line up, we're going out here and do X, Y, Z. Cut this far, pick up trash, and you just win. He puts them out of charge, you just go. I know that may sound foreign to you, but that's what he did. The labor force, whatever the king wanted, he just sent people to do it. You either do it or you die. So now Jeroboam is the overseer for the entire labor force. And it happened at that time when Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem that the prophet Ahijah, the Shilonite, met him on the way. Now he's running to a prophet. He had clothed himself in a new garment, and the 2 were alone in the field. So now we hear Jeroboam is with the prophet alone in the field. Then Ahijah took hold of the new garment that was on him and tore it into 12 pieces. And he said to Jeroboam, take for yourself 10 pieces. For thus says the Lord God of Israel, behold, I will tear the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and will give 10 tribes to you. But he shall have 1 tribe for the sake of my servant David, for the sake of Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen out of the tribes of Israel. Because they have forsaken me and worshipped Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Sidonians, and Shamash, the god of Moabites, and and milk on the God of the people and have not walked in my ways to do what is right in my eyes, and keep my statutes and my judgments, as did his father David. However, and this is God's talking on, I will not take the whole kingdom out of his hand, because I have made him the ruler all the days of his life for the sake of my Savior David, whom I chose because he kept my commandments and my statutes. See, God is reiterating the reason that he's doing. See, he's doing things, and he's explaining to Jeroboam, who's going to become the new king, another king, why he's doing it. So I'm only splitting this nation in half. This is happening because this is what I've done, and you're going to keep one kingdom. Basically what he's telling Jeroboam, now you're going to get 10. Don't get greedy and mess with this one.
Okay.
Because this one still belongs to me. Don't get, beside yourself. This one, because David has still, and see, good decisions can still, just because we're talking about what about tomorrow, see, we can make decisions that will give us long-lasting blessings. So don't think this is a totally negative message. It's not. It's just to liberate about what we decide. Because I know there's people sitting here now and probably reflecting like me, like, God, I'm glad I made this decision X amount of years ago. I'm usually about material things. I'm glad I started saving money when I was like 20 years old. I'm glad I took this job. I'm glad I went to school. I'm glad I didn't marry him. I'm glad I didn't marry her. I'm glad I didn't move to this city. I'm glad I didn't move to that city. Things happen sometimes, and this really can be sort of amazing. And sometimes we try to force situations to think that the decision we made is because I prayed about it, I feel that God told me to do this, so I'm just going to keep pressing and maneuver my way to do what God said to do. And once I had some bad counsel when I retired by people like, oh, you just need to go up here. Everybody knows you go work for, was it WorldCom? Was it WorldCom? Was it people that, we just had the phone company. No, they don't exist. Anyway, because I was in communication, they just go up there. They just kicked me to the curb. But anyway, after 9/11, the place they were not business. So all those people that were up there that were saying you need to come in and work with us, they all lost their jobs. I wasn't allowed to go there. So a decision to pursue something else. Like, so just talk to so he'll get you in. I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. Anyway, that's just one example to show that sometimes when you make a decision, you want something, and if you don't get it, that doesn't mean it was a bad decision.
All right.
That just meant that God will impose his will on us. Amen. In certain situations by blocking out everything. I want you to go through. Okay, I keep telling you, you see, you're trying to go through all these doors. There's only one that open. I don't know why you're over rattling all them other doorknobs. The thing is, I'm not looking at the door that God has got open. And making the decision that lines up with what God said. But at any rate, they kept, one tribe was left with Solomon's son because of David's obedience. But he said, but I will take the kingdom out of his son's hand and give you 10 tribes. And to his son, I will give one tribe. I will give that one tribe, that my servant David may always have a lamp before me in Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen for my name, and put my name on it. So I will take you, and you shall reign over all your heart's desire, and you shall be king over Israel. See, it was Israel and basically Israel and Judah. And he's still talking to Jeroboam. He's setting all the parameters. But listen what else he told Jeroboam. In verse 38 here, it said, then it shall be, if you heed all that I command you, walk in my ways, and do what is right in my sight, to keep my statutes and my commandments, as my servant David did, then I will be with you and build for you an enduring house as I built for David, and will give Israel to you. He's telling Jeroboam right now, if you do what I tell you to do, not only will I give you the 10 tribes, I will establish your household into the future, and you will reign over these 10 tribes. I mean, that's a great deal he's making this guy. He says, and I will, this is what God said, I will afflict the descendants of David because of this, but not forever. See, not only is he going to give Jeroboam these 10 tribes, and if he's obedient, he's going to, him and his descendants are going to reign and rule over this. But see, I'm going to afflict David's descendants, which means I am going to prevent them from conspiring against you. I'm going to prevent them from raising up revolution. Because you know, people just don't like to give up power.
That's right.
People just don't say, oh, that's cool, I'm just out of power. No, I am going to afflict them so they can't become strong enough to try to take these 10 tribes back. You will be established and I will protect you.
All right.
If you make the right decision to follow me and do what I say. I mean, to me, that's very reassuring. But I mean, sometimes people, we serve God and like, oh man, they don't benefit to this. Tired going to church, I don't see nothing change, blah, blah, blah. They always want this. We got our eyes off the prize. Sometimes the church takes our eyes off, doesn't take us off of things like this. Because not only will God will really establish us, but he will afflict any of opposition to what he has ordained. Woo! I mean, he must do that because he's God.
Amen. Thank you.
You're just conditional. He said, you stick with me, this will be your condition. So that's what we talk about, deliberating about decisions that we make. Like, wait a minute, if I make the right decisions, God will establish me in this area, and he will provide protection that I am sustained. Sign me up. I need to stay on this. But I need to know what God says, and I need to do what he says. See, there's two things that the body of Christ needs to do. They need to know what God says, we need to do what he says.
All right, now.
We seem to try to master the first part of trying to know what he said. We study the word backwards and forwards and go to all this. But when it comes to the execution, I'm just going to say law on that. We have to be aware it takes both. Because God says right here, if you heed all that I command you. You didn't say like, just consider it. You didn't say like start and then change your mind later. He said, no, if you heed all that I tell you, then I will do this. Verse 40 says, Solomon therefore, here he goes, sought to kill Jeroboam. Solomon, the wise king, thinks he can undo the will of God by killing a human being. He thinks he can undo the will of God by killing a human being. But Jeroboam arose and fled to Egypt, to Shashak, king of Egypt, who was in Egypt until the death of Solomon. Now the rest of the acts of Solomon, all he did, all his wisdom, are they not written in the book of the Acts of Solomon? And the period that Solomon reigned over Israel, over all Israel, was 40 years. Then Solomon rested with his fathers and was buried in the city of David, his father. And Rehoboam, his son, reigned in his place. So now we get to the point where Solomon has passed away. Jeroboam has run to Egypt for safety to get out of, keep Solomon from killing him. So that's the situation. God raised up these adversaries, and now the events are about to become full because Solomon's out of the picture. Now his son is the designated king of all of Israel. For right now, the split hadn't occurred yet. So let's keep going to chapter 12. Because the story and the plot thickens, as they said in mystery movies. We're going to look at 12, 1 through 4. And then Rehoboam is the new king, went to Shechem. For all of Israel had gone to Shechem to make him king. So it happened, when Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, heard it, he was still in Egypt, for he had fled from the presence of King Solomon and had been dwelling in Egypt. So he was still, had ran away. Then verse 3, that they sent and called him. Then Jeroboam and the whole assembly of Israel came and spoke to Rehoboam, saying, your father made our yoke heavy. Now therefore lighten the burdensome service of your father and his heavy yoke which he put on us, and we will serve you. We need to stop that and look. Now Jeroboam knows what the prophet says. He's still an instrument of God. But understand, he was in charge of the labor force. Now he had come back from Egypt. The people made him aware, because understand, the people liked him more than they did Jeroboam. Well, Rehoboam, I should say, Solomon's son. So he's come back, and they go and petition the king. And understand, these are the same people that Jeroboam used to be the Lord over the labor force. All they're saying to the king right now, just lighten our burden. Your dad, man, he worked us to death. I mean, he was like Big Money Grip. He had everything, and he just working us and working us and working us and working us, enslaving us, taking all that we have. Now we just want you to lighten up on us. You know, like in the U.S., like, can we get a tax break? We're in the middle class. We're tired of carrying the load that they come and pay for everything. Can't you tax the rich people a little more? That's the same sort of principle. So now they go to the king to ask him to lighten the burden that his father had. And then, but look at the part that they said here that's looks like it's almost a setup. Because Jeroboam was with these people. But it said, if you lighten this yoke, if you lighten the burdensome service of your father and this heavy yoke which you put on us, we will serve you. They give him a chance to keep his position. And these are only people giving him a chance to keep his position. And I don't know what Jeroboam's attitude was in all this. Maybe he was going along with the people, because he's knowing what the results are going to be. But they're giving the king a chance. You know, I don't know if God heard those addicts, give them enough rope to hang themselves. So now they put up a situation to where they can still be loyal to the king without starting out with revolution. So they go to the king and ask him to lighten the load. And I think you can imagine what happened after that. The king deliberated, went to his advisors, and you can read that for yourself. For the second time, I'm going to go down and read the after effect. But basically what happened, the old elders told the king one thing, that this might be a good idea. They advised him to take that advice and maybe give the people some relief. But the younger people said, no, you need to show how tough you are. Instead of, being like, they say you're like your father, you need to prove that you are even tougher to subject these people. Because I guess he's thinking, how dare you? I'm the king. How dare you even come petition me for anything? I'm the king. Don't ask me nothing. Get out of my castle. Get away from me. And just do what I say. So he had those two choices. Listen to the people or reject what the people said. He chose the latter. He rejected. So let's look at verse 16. And we're almost finished. So we'll get to it when we are kind of early today. Verse 16, chapter 12. Now when all of Israel saw that the king did not listen to them, the people answered the king, saying, now the people went to petition the king. He had a chance to make a decision. He did make a decision. He didn't listen to him. The people said, what share have we in David? They're basically right now, okay, you have rejected us. We don't even care. We have no share in you. We have no interest in you. You've discarded us. We don't feel like we're part of the country anymore. We have no inheritance in the son of Jesse. That's referring back to David. To your tents, O Israel. Now see to your own house, O David. So basically they're saying, okay, we're going to the tents. We're not going back out, we're going off tent. In other words, they're getting ready for war. They said, you better look out. Because right now, we're not with you. You're on your own, king. That had to be trouble. They telling the king, because you just don't do that. But understand, God has orchestrated all this. The people told him, king, we have no inheritance in you. Said, see to your own house. In other words, don't try to tell us what to do anymore. So Israel departed to their tents. Verse 17 says, but Rehoboam reigned over the children of Israel who dwelt in the city of Judah. Then King Rehoboam sent Adoram, who was in charge of the revenue. But all of Israel stoned him with stones, and he died. He sent out his tax collector. He sent the IRS out to these people to collect the taxes.
Well,
They didn't pay taxes. They killed the tax collector. That wasn't a good thing. That's a bad signal to the king. Because look what the king did. Then, therefore, King Rehoboam mounted his chariot in haste and fled to Jerusalem. Like, I got to get out of here. Because when people stop paying tax, they tell you to keep your tax. You probably like, okay, I'm next. So he left quickly. He didn't even pack. He probably told the servant to bring my stuff later. I'll send you my forwarding address. I'm leaving the castle immediately. So Israel has been in rebellion against the house of David to this day. Read down to 20. Now it came to pass when all of Israel heard that Jeroboam had come back, they sent for him and called him to the congregation and made him king over all Israel. There is none who followed the house of David but the tribe of Judah only. So now the king is fled, they killed the tax collector. The masses have made Jeroboam, the servant, the former worker for Solomon, the king over the 10 tribes. Now see, this decision that Solomon made has set in motion all these events. So now the vast majority of the country is under the authority of the servant, not the rightful heir. And that's bad enough that the king's son has been denied its inheritance. But brothers and sisters, a lot of times the immediate impact of a decision is just the tip of the iceberg. Because the decision can be made, even though God set this in motion. God did not mandate that Jeroboam be faithful to him. He only gave him the conditions that would allow him to be faithful to him. So when people get authority, God doesn't force them to be obedient to him. That's why you can work for people, the supervisor that can do ungodly things to people. I won't force them to. They'll know what's right. They sit up in church all the time. Hopefully they hear things that are right, but they may not do it. So Jeroboam has been authorized. He has been set up as the king because Solomon lost the right for his descendant by disobedience, which led to the country being split and rebellion breaking out, his son losing his inheritance. But now God has established a new king to influence most of the people. And he told him what he expected of him. And see, this gives me revelation right now, something like, well, how did God put this person in there that's doing all this stuff? Well, God tells us all what's right or wrong. It's up to us whether we do it. So having a position don't mean you're going to do right. I mean, you be a pastor, or elder, teacher, governor, mayor, president, police officer, soldier. We can know what's right, but God won't force us to do it right. He really shows us what's right. So now here's this man who God has told what to do, how to do it, how to remain in favor with him and faithful to him, and trusting him with his people is the king. Let's look at what happens. We're going to stop here on this end result of this decision that Solomon made to turn his back on God. Chapter 12, verse 25. And I would caution you to put the whole thing in context. If you like reading this like history, read both 11 and 12. But for the sake of time, we're going to pull this out. Still Jeroboam. No, we get in the name, so I'm trying to catch it. I said Jeroboam is the king of Israel, not Solomon's son. Then Jeroboam built Shechem in the mountains of Ephraim and dwelt there. Also he went out from there and built Peniel. And Jeroboam said in his heart, I will go back to the heart. Now the kingdom may return to the house of David. If these people go up to offer sacrifices in the house of the Lord at Jerusalem, then the heart of this people will turn back to their Lord, Rehoboam, king of Judah, and they will kill me and go back to Rehoboam, king of Judah. So now this king in his heart, in spite of what God told him about afflicting the enemy and being established, has decided in his heart, if I let these people go, they continue to go to Jerusalem where Rehoboam is the ruler and worship God, their heart will turn back to this king.
All right.
He was afraid of that. that they would turn back to this king. Let that sink in. God had already told him, if you just do what I tell you to do, follow all my commands, I will establish you and keep you and your descendants. And I will afflict the house of David. So not only will I keep you, I will protect you. But he got power. I don't know if, well, I better leave that alone. Maybe too many twilight. Sometimes like getting a great deal of power makes people paranoid. You never forgot what God says. I don't know how many times we do that. You always forgot what God said. So now he's making a decision not based on what God said. He's making a decision based on what he thinks. Might have. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Possibly. I'm afraid to do this. I can't allow this. Because I want to hang on to power. So now I'm going to devise my own way to keep power.
Wow.
So that, I mean, this almost made me weep. Not just it, because this applied to modern day. So he's afraid that the people, if they continue to worship, and see how deep, how demonic this is, if they continue to worship God, they will go back to this king. I don't know how he arrived there, but that's what he's attacking. That's what he's concerned about, if I would allow these people to continue to worship God in Jerusalem. So let's see what he did. He had to devise a plan. Because I don't want the people to go to Jerusalem. I don't want them to go where God really is. Because they might leave me and kill me. Even though God didn't say that. I don't want them to know the truth.
Okay.
They get exposed too much to the truth, I might lose control of them. That wasn't what God told him. I'm going to stay away from it, God. Thank you. Don't let me go there. I see a big rabbit hole, but I'm not going down in it. He is afraid of these people continuing to know the true way to worship God for his own selfish motives. Verse 28. Therefore the king asked advice. He asked advice, and let's look at what this is going to be very familiar to everybody. Made two calves of gold and said to the people, it is too much for you to go to Jerusalem. Here are your gods, O Israel, which brought you up from the land of Egypt. He created a new God. And actually gave this God the attributes of the real God. He said, this is the God that brought you out of Egypt. These two calves, this metal, these trinkets, this Mr. T starter kit. Because they made it look good. Look at it, it'll make you feel good. Look how shiny it is. It's right here, it's convenient, it's easy. You don't have to do anything. Just kind of show up. We have valet parking, we have lattes and Starbucks in the lobby. We will have padded seats, you can recline, you can wear your pajamas, you can put on the headphones. You can sit out here and just look at me on the big screen TV. You don't have to interact with anybody, do anything that's anywhere like right. Here is your new God. It's called religion. Just come and bow down to these kings. It's the same thing as the other God that brought you out of Egypt. I said, you cut off my head. No, man, them two calves. And they would drug me off and kill me. Obviously, nobody told him that. That's not the God that brought us out of Egypt. It doesn't look like fire or cloud, then it couldn't have been the God that I saw. Anyway, that's what tradition that they would call. But anyway, this is what he's done. He said, whoa, I lost myself. Here are your gods, O Israel, who brought you out of Egypt. And he set up one in Bethel and put the other in Dan. Now this thing became a sin for the people. For the people went to worship before the one as far as Dan. So he created a false god and the people started to follow it. Amazing, isn't it? He made shrines on the high places and made priests from every class of people who were not of the sons of Levi. He done created a whole new priesthood. He's out ordaining drunks. Well, I'm taking liberty here. But he said people of every class. He's gone totally away from God. He's created a new religion. I don't care if these people are this. They are, I said they are priests. They are ministers because the king said that. We got to keep the illusion going. Jeroboam ordained feast on the 15th day of the 8th month, like the feast that was in Judah. You get the gist of that? He ordained a feast on the 15th day of the 8th month that was like the feast that was in Judah, and offered sacrifices on the altar. So he did at Bethel, sacrificing to the calves that he had made. And at Bethel he installed the priests of the high places which he made. So he made offerings on the altar which he had made at Bethel on the 15th day of the 8th month, in the month which he had devised in his own heart. The month that he made up his own high days. And he ordained a feast for the children of Israel and offered sacrifices on the altar and burned incense. So in other words, long story short, what Jeroboam did, what happened as a result of all of this, was a man was made king, was told by God what to do and how to do the things that were pleasing God. But because he was selfish and wanted to hang on to power instead of obey God, he made up his own religion. That is horrendous and evil enough, but the people followed it. That's inconceivable. So that one decision that Solomon made with all these women, we just look and we're going to follow that all the way through. So how did that impact us? We have to be aware of the same thing. Because we see how devious this guy was. And not to criticize others, but we have to be very aware of what we're participating in. Because we can see it's real easy for men to put up. He put these high days on the same day as Jerusalem. Oh, you don't have to go down to Jerusalem. You don't have to go, hey, you want this? Be very discerning about a church service that seems to cater to what the people want. God can care less about what we want. You don't care what we want. Why should he go? Why are you worried about what we want? Why is it always changing? Why are we making up new stuff? Because you see, he made up a new day. I'm going to keep y'all so busy, you're not even going to know Jerusalem exists anymore. And guess what? As we continue to go, you're going to forget what even happened in Jerusalem. I'm going to keep you so busy and so confused, you are not going to know the truth. And I will remain king. Because you are confused. I don't have to do what God says. I do what I want. That's essentially what he did. See how evil and demonic that was? What allowed this door that was open because Solomon was disobedient and made these decisions and got the lineage of David off the throne. And this person, it wasn't God's fault, because all Jeroboam, he made his own decisions. But it's unfortunate that nowadays we see things that are very similar. People put stuff in church, they got no business in there. Just make up stuff for you to do.
Well,
I'm not going to get specific because people know what we're talking about. It just amazes me some of the stuff that people make up, but me, it's the same principle. They make up stuff that look like what God would have you do, is to keep us busy, so we'll keep looking for the truth.
whoa, preach. Lord
You don't want to
Jesus.
see the truth. I don't want you to see the truth, because if you come aware of the truth, you'll know that I'm not real. Because you know his concern was that the people kept revelation of the truth, they will kill me. See, he was aware of what would happen if truth came in. But it wasn't established like that. All he had to do was just go along. He let that whatever fear or whatever interfere and took him off the court. And he ended up making up a whole new religion. And if you read through Kings, I'm not saying you to do that, but if you study Kings and read through that, 1st and 2nd Kings and even Chronicles, you can see the king, it got to a point where they would start to describe the king, how they related to God. Then this king died, then his son took his place, and he did that was evil in his life. And it didn't get better, people. There were some good kings. Asa was one, I think Jehoshaphat, there was a few that came along and were good, but most of the kings after this were evil, and the first thing in the narrative was this person became king, and they did evil in the sight of the Lord. Those high places just proved up. But see, it's no different now. We just don't see it like that. Any religion is not truly about the word. Any church that's operating this is not truly grounded and rooted in the principles and the word of God and what he says. It's the same as that. We mock that, oh, that looks really bad. We wouldn't do that. Yes, we would. There's people doing it. I would venture to say there's more people doing that than the people that truly are seeking God. Because seeking God has become out of style. It's not faddish. It doesn't market well. You don't make DVDs. You don't do conferences about that. You don't need a conference. Why do you need a conference to see God? I don't. Now, a conference might enrich you. Read my books, that might enrich me. I don't write books. So we got to stay aware about decisions we make, because guess what? Those decisions are going to impact tomorrow. Yeah. I was looking at a news report, and I'm going to sit after this, about something that a guy said about the power of the office of the president. He was talking about Chief Justice Kennedy, and this is not political, but he is still on the Supreme Court. Now, I'm not saying he's bad or not. I don't know the man. I'm just not saying he's bad. I'm not even alluding that he's bad. But this guy is still a judge 20-something years after the president that appointed him has died. That was Ronald Reagan. So Ronald Reagan has passed. But the decision that he made is still has effect, because a person he chose to sit on the Supreme Court is still there. And I'm not saying he's a bad guy. The guy that said he's bad, I don't think he's bad. But it gives us, a way to quantify the significance of decisions. Wow. It's still having an effect 22 years after he is deceased. So Ronald Reagan is no longer physically here, but he's still having an impact on America. Yeah. Guess what, brothers and sisters? We do too. Yeah. Our decisions still have an impact on our family after we're gone. Yeah. Oh, yes. So that's the importance of always remember, deliberate. What about tomorrow? So I will need to deliberate everything. So if y'all ask me something, and I say I got to wait, and I'm not making a decision, I got to be concerned about it tomorrow. Y'all have a blessed day. We're going to transition to Holy Communion now.